Hey guys, welcome to Live for Live with Kurt. Made it back safe and sound from Japan, so it's good to be back in Springfield, back into real estate. Things are going well out here, so it's really good. Today I want to talk about something really important, and it's regarding the sale of property. And is the cheaper option and the cheaper agent really the cheaper option and the cheaper agent? Long term, I don't think so myself personally. So some of the topics we're going to go through today is paid marketing versus free or cheap marketing, professional photography versus photos taken via an iPhone or a digital camera, or agents taking their own photos. Premier listings on realestate.com or your standard listings, and I'll elaborate a little bit more on that as we get into the video. Open homes, yes or no, and newspaper advertising versus Facebook in the modern style. Floor plans with your property photography, yes or no again, and signboards with agents' personal mobile numbers versus signboards at the front of your property or advertisements that don't have the agent's mobile number but only have an office number for you to reach. Hey Jason, how are you, mate? Been a while there, Kasky. The first one I want to talk about is paid marketing versus cheap or free marketing. I see it a lot, and especially around professional photography. I want to start on that one actually. Professional photography is probably between $300 and $500 max to have the absolute best photography done on your property. It's disappointing to see in this day and age, as a real estate agent who's on realestate.com fairly often, that there's still properties out there that are getting listed with terrible photography. There's properties getting listed out there with photos from iPhones or cheap digital cameras that have had absolutely no effort put into them. There's property on realestate.com today, I've seen it. There's a crinkled towel. There's a photo of the clothesline with the clothes still hanging on it. The doors are all open to the bathroom with stuff laying all over the floor. There's toast in the toaster on the kitchen bench, and it just looks like absolute rubbish. People are trying to achieve top dollar for their properties, but they're not willing to spend a few $100s on professional photos. And at McGrath here, our photographers are employed on a salary rather than a third party, which is outsourced by us so therefore our photographers are coming in and they're paid on an hourly rate, so they don't mind spending the time and the effort to maneuver things around in the property, to get things looking nice and tidy, to have the beds made properly, to have everything looking Mickey Mouse. And I just think it's disappointing that the agent, let alone the photographer, can't even go to the effort to sort a few little things like that out. So as far as I'm concerned, and from what I've seen and what I know in real estate, I think one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, apart from who you choose as your agent, is getting the photography right. I just can't push hard enough on spending the money to have proper photos done. I'd imagine, from what I've seen before, I think it's about 84% of people searching for property on realestate.com will not go and inspect a property that has terrible photography, and I don't blame them. Second thing I wanted to talk to you guys about today was, I don't know if your agent or if you've ever dealt with it, it's your first time in selling a property, realestate.com versus domain.com.au. I know different people use different ones, but I personally am a big fan of realestate.com myself. But what I wanted to talk about on both of them is realestate.com have 4 different ways that you can list a property, from Premier, which is the bigger photos, you're at the top of the listing. So when someone logs onto realestate.com, they type in, for instance, Augustine Heights, your property is going to be the first one at the very top. Obviously, as new premieres come on, you move down, but every 14 or 15 days you go back to the top again, and you're constantly on. So I have a statistic sheet here that says 53% of traffic on realestate.com don't go past the first page. So the difference between a premier listing and say a standard is a standard listing's probably 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 10 pages deep in realestate.com with the smaller photography. Definitely not noticed like a Premiere. I think by the time you get to the 4th or 5th page, your chances of being seen are way slimmer. So definitely worth spending the money on a Premiere listing on realestate.com. It ranges from suburb to suburb, and your real estate agent or whoever you employ to sell your property will be able to tell you exactly how much it costs to have your property on Premiere. But I can't stress enough how important it is to be on Premiere listing. If you're serious about selling your house and your property is not listed on realestate.com as a Premiere listing, I really don't think you're seriously in the game for it. The next thing I want to talk about is, I know some agencies and some agents don't do open homes. I can't disagree strongly enough. I think open homes are a great opportunity for people to come through your home in a more relaxed environment. Whereas, if people have got to come in through private inspections, and I feel like there's a lot more pressure. And you get the stragglers too that are just driving around on a Saturday and see an open home sign and pop in. I mean, there's been numerous occasions in the real estate industry where people have been driving around on a Saturday not really looking to buy a house and popped into an open home and bought it. So I think open homes are really important. Also, for the fact that if you have a popular property and you get 10 to 15 groups through or 20 groups through on a Saturday open home, it just creates that intensity and that urgency in buyers. Like it just, there's that much interest in the property. Everyone wants a piece of it because they're afraid they're going to miss out, and that's human nature. So, we all want what we can't have, and I think having an open home with a big group of people through creates urgency in people, and it can create better prices for the properties by far if you ask for my opinion. The next thing I wanted to talk about was newspaper advertising versus Facebook campaigns. Newspaper articles and stuff, they can be used quite effectively. I just don't think in this modern day and age many people probably looking in the paper for property is what they used to be, versus Facebook is like a day-to-day newspaper for everyone now. I'd say probably 70 or 80% of people, as soon as they wake up out of bed, the first thing they do is on their Facebook page. So gives a big thumbs up on big like if you're one of those people that wakes up and you're straight on Facebook to see what's happening in the world before you turn on the Today Show. So I think the money that is spent on a newspaper article is really expensive compared to a Facebook campaign, which can be monitored for how many people are viewing it, how many people are looking at it. So I think the quality of and how much money you're spending, it's definitely better off spent in Facebook this day and age. Like I said, you can actually monitor how many people are viewing the ad, how many people are engaging in it, and the cost difference is crazy. One of my recent properties I had for sale, I did a campaign on that one. It cost me $100 as a Facebook campaign. We had just over 19,000 views in 2 weeks on that property. So, versus a newspaper where you don't even know how many people have looked at it, it's impossible to measure. So I think that's why Facebook marketing is so important these days, because it's the new newspaper of the world. Everyone's on Facebook looking for the news rather than the newspaper at 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning these days. And the next thing I want to talk about was having a floor plan attached to your property. Hey Dion, how are you, mate? Having a floor plan attached to your property, I think, is really, really important. It qualifies buyers before they even come to the front door. I know for a fact that probably 80% of buyers that we talk to love the idea of having a professional floor plan attached to a property on realestate.com. It just gives them the opportunity to know exactly what they're looking for and whether the property that you've got listed is what they're after. There's no point wasting people's time, pretty much. I just think It's a new modern way. It's really easy. People can take that and plan out where they want to put things and how they want to do things. So I definitely think in this day and age you need to have a floor plan attached to your property when you're selling it. And one more thing I wanted to touch on is some agencies out there, and some do, some don't actually have the agent attached to the signboard. So there's a signboard at the front of the property advertising on realestate.com, but there's no actual agent's mobile number to contact. I think just having an office number on a signboard and an office number on advertising on the internet, it just doesn't cut it in this day and age. People are so time savvy, they want to be able to talk to an agent straight away. So between the hours of 9 and 5, you know, you can't reach an agent when you want to view a property. You know, people are very time savvy these days. So if you can't talk to an agent after 5 p.m, you know, I just think that disadvantages you if you're selling your property and you can't reach, and potential buyers can't reach an agent. So I don't agree with it. You may not, but it's something to think about too when you go to pick an agent when you're selling your property, is how contactable are they. Couple little statistics quickly on realestate.com versus Domain we spoke about before. The average time someone spends on realestate.com is about 5.5 minutes versus the average time someone spends on domain.com is about 3.5 minutes. And 23% of property views for Queensland, and this area in particular in Greater Springfield, 23% of our buyers are coming from New South Wales at the moment. So I think that's a really important statistic too. And what's your agent doing to market your property outside the area? All right, guys, sweet. We'll be having an update in the next couple of weeks with a finance guy, and just talking a little bit about home loans, how to get pre-approved, how to set up your home loan properly, how to save money by changing up your home loan with different companies, and what can and can't work, and what's best and what's not. So we'll be having that in the next couple of weeks, so make sure you tune in. All right, guys, take care. Thanks for tuning in.